I think we're live. Okay, music's playing again. All right, I accidentally crashed OBS, and I don't know how I did it. But something I did crashed OBS. Well, okay, so since the OBS crashed, I'll do my intro again. Basically, I'm doing a dev stream for Crystal Grimoire, Heart of Eternity. We're working on some idle game stuff. So basically, there's going to be idle processes that run in the background of the game. So we're basically going to be implementing those today, or at least trying to, depending on how long I end up doing this. I am kind of tired today as well. All right, that's annoying. Yeah, it didn't actually record the last bit. Sorry. So anybody that wasn't here, yeah, I didn't do anything. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm setting up a data table for our jobs. So basically there will be different jobs and we can actually make variants of each job. So we'll be able to pull which one that we want. So we'll get like a job ID or something along those lines. And I'll use that in a different mechanic. And then I have a universal ID system that will pull items from, and then we'll get the information from the items. So not a lot will actually be put into this data table, but if I wanted to make like, somebody that wasn't a blacksmith, but had the blacksmith capabilities, I could pull from whatever variables I need. Whether or not I'll use this or not, I don't know. Anyways, I think I saved it already. So we can move that away from here. So now I should be able to go to my game files, which I don't have up on my screen at the moment, so I'll have to open it. I'm running out of space on all of my drives too. Maybe that's why OBS crashed. That might be bad. I'm gonna make sure to have OBS on my other screen just so I know when it crashes if it does. Date tables. Oh, I didn't save it. I thought I did. I'm gonna say cancel because OBS just crashed on me. There we go. Game development, Grimoire. Save under table tables, job. There we go. So if you're curious what that looks like, got it right here. It's just a CSV file. We'll be importing it into our assets. And back up. Just drag it down here. And then, actually, I don't want to drag it yet. Oh, things are screwing up. There it goes. Cancel. I don't actually want to do that yet. I didn't actually do it, did it? No. I want to create a struct first, so that we have a struct for it. So add new, blueprints, struct. Not letting me rename it automatically. That's annoying. Then data table struct. And we'll call this one job. Open it up and open on my other monitor. That's annoying. And then, just a heads up, I normally have my workflow in both monitors. That's why a lot of stuff is going to open on my second monitor. All right, and then we had a friendly name that we'll have here. The job ID will be a string. I should realistically be using names, I know, but whatever. I don't actually know too much of the difference, and we'll just use a string for the name. Go ahead and save that. I think names can be translated, can't they? Is that names or text? I think, no, text is a localized string, localizable string. What's the difference between a string and a text? Hold on, I'm actually gonna read. A piece of text is used to identify something within the game. Comparing two names is much faster than comparing two strings. Ha! I should be using names. We'll have to work on that at some point. My system is built on strings at the moment, so I'm gonna go ahead and use strings, but I should probably switch all those to names in the future for the IDs. So I'll have to remember that. I'm actually gonna write that on my notebook. I'm still learning some stuff, especially about performance. I was learning about profiling yesterday. Convert strings into names. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of me just kind of fumbling around sometimes, because again, a lot of this stuff I haven't built before. I did build a clicker in Unreal. It wasn't very design elemented, but it had timers in it, so I know how to build timers at the very least. Anyways, save that, make sure it's saved. Now I can import it. From my data tables. Move this to my other monitor so it's just out of the way. Then we'll select our job struct. So now if we open it up, we can see we got job, blacksmith, done. Cool. So now I have a table that I can pull from and modify whenever I want. So that'll work. Another thing I need to make sure is that the timer is set here. Time stop, no. And then on the main menu, which is what happens when we start, we want that on. Pile that. Good. And in our game mode, make sure this is going to run. Here's a cast. So we're going to have a cast to our actual game BP, which is where I am storing all of my main variables that need to run between levels. And I also use it as my function library at the moment. So that'll be good. I'll just leave it like that. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add in a tick value. I'm only going to be updating the job processes probably once every half a second. So let's go ahead and make a new variable. I'm going to name it, well, I named the other ones based on what they were. So I'll just call this job and then call it a cum or tick a cum. Add it as a float. Go ahead and set, and then we'll have a get. Did I set this tick delay? I do, okay. So basically what this will do is it'll add in the value that we get from tick delay, and then we will add it to our tick cum. Then once the tick cum actually goes up above a certain amount, it will run the process. That way we're not wasting precious tick whatever's processes, precious resources on just kind of doing whatever. Put this up here. If it is larger than, or rather we're going to do a plus first, so do float plus float plus the tick delay. And if this is larger than 0.5 for 0.5 seconds, realistically I could just do it every second as well, but I don't know. We'll just do it 0.5 for now. Can modify it with settings later. I could probably make it configurable as well. Set it up like that. That way. Also have it like this. If true. Actually, I want to set this as well, so I think I'm going to set it before we get in here. I set job tick cum. That way I just don't have to type it twice. I'm lazy like that. So that'll go in there, it'll set it, and then it'll automatically check if it's above 5. That makes more sense in the chart anyways. So we'll just do that. Now if it is, we need to minus the actual amount that was there, so grab in tick cum, set it, so we'll have another set. And then it's gonna be a float plus minus float. Tick cum minus 1. Well, 0.5 technically, because that's what our tick rate is. This also, if I do it this system as well, because some people would be like, oh, why would you actually not just set it to 0? This will allow it to, let's say they have a frame to where they stop for 2 seconds or whatever. This will mean that the tick accumulation will still add in those 2 seconds, at least if the engine is set to do that. And then it will basically add in the extra amount of ticks depending on the frame rate. And so if it ends up going over, it'll just be like, oh, hey, we'll get a little bit more. So yeah. That should be all we need. I don't know why I said it again. That was dumb. We'll ignore that I did that. Now from there, we actually want to create our job process. So we need something that was going to add a job process. Let's go ahead and open my controller. I'll just do it in there. Where is my controller BP? There we go. This is just a generic controller. There's all my movement code and stuff. So I'm gonna just add some debug code. I'm gonna use an X, Q, and C. So we'll add this one on Q. We're gonna create a function inside of my game here. Drag that over there. Create a new gameplay function. Hit C. Oops. Gameplay, add I don't know, add job process. That'll work. Event, add custom event. Gameplay, add job. I'm gonna name that just to be the same. That way when I'm looking at code, it'll be a little bit easier. Line that up, because I am a freak when it comes to that. Oh, come on, let me select it. There we go. A little hard to use the Unreal Engine when there's a mic in my face. Is OBS still going? Yes, it is. Cool. I was afraid it was going to crash again. I don't know why. My game's being a little bit different. So there's a few ways I can do this. I can actually add in my chart to make it so that there's different types of processes. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So I'm actually going to go back to my chart and change it. I could also do it so that it depends on the item that is input. So go back over here. I'm not actually going to use that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a type. And then that type will be used as the blacksmith. So make blacksmith. I could use an enumerator for that as well, but I just don't want to deal with using integer-based stuff. I've worked in engines that do that before. Anyways, we'll do job, repair item or something like that. So repair, or actually repair web would make more sense because you're going to be able to repair outfits as well. So it could be like job, repair, outfit. Copy that over there. And the name, I'm just going to leave that there for now. I'll just name it blank. I mean, I'm going to be using the job processes for upgrades as well. So it'll be like, you know, increase crystal capacity. Just do that as a sample. That way we have a few different ones. Type upgrade. Taylor. Hopefully I'm spelling all of these correctly. Increase Chris cap. That'll work. None of these are final. I can change them whenever I want. Put that there. Just to make things easier, I'm going to add in some formatting functions as well. Additional formatting, the best part about this. Make it so that when everything is empty, we'll do that. We'll add another rule. Make it so the text is grayed out whenever the text is exactly none. I need to move that above there. We'll have a description as well. The description will have variables that I can input, so I'm not going to code it yet because that's something I'm going to do in the future, but the script goes here. That way when I do my hover code for my tooltips in the game, I can just go ahead and actually test that it's actually working because it'll have a description no matter what. And then if name is none on here, obviously what it'll do is it'll compare and be like, oh, hey, we should make sure that this actually has a name. So it'll pull the name from the item, whatever we're doing. And then say, like, let's say we used a weapon, like let's say we had a job that was like, you know, extract resources, something like that. Instead of using the weapon's name, for example, we could use extract, whatever. File, download as, it's gonna go to the right spot. There it goes. Thank you. I'd rather not have to go through all my file browser stuff while I'm streaming. Never know what you're gonna find. All right. That was dumb. Oh yeah, I need to re-import as well. So we'll right click, go back to re-import. Oh yeah, I forgot to update the struct as well. Always have to update the struct. Job, there we go. Job ID, we had a type. And then we have description. One thing about this. Something within the game. Does that mean, I'll have to look this up later, but I think that's talking about assets because it uses name for things like levels or assets like actors or models and stuff like that, which I am using, so that'll be useful in the future. But no, it says comparing two names is faster than comparing two strings. Yeah. You know what? Screw it. Let's go ahead and use names, and I'll change things as it goes along. I won't need to compare these two as often. Type I'll have to compare, so that'll be a name. And description will be a string because that'll be a display. I'm curious what the performance impact of name is when you're actually putting it out. I'll have to look up that type of stuff. It's not like it's hard to change anyways. I just have to go back and like change variable types, which at this point in the game isn't hard, but in the future it'll be important. So yeah, see, it didn't import any of that data, so I'll need to re-import that again. This is one annoying part. You can set it to auto import, but for some reason it doesn't do it with the data tables, which is annoying. So that's a thing. All right, so we've got our game thing. I'm gonna go ahead and get from table. Get from data table, or what was it called? Data table row. Yeah, get data table row. So we're gonna need that. We'll use a kind of name system, so whenever we pull the event, it will grab a name. We'll just call this job ID again, just so we know exactly what it's going from. So over here, then it will find the job ID inside of our job list. Probably going to want an equipment type as well that is supported. I think I'm going to leave that out for now. I'll worry about it later. Maybe not. I kind of want this to be inclusive. Go ahead and say, I don't know what to call this. I'm just call it allow for now. This would be WEP and outfit, and then none. Yeah, I think that's all we'll need. Hopefully. So this will be the last time I do this. I say that, and I'll probably do it again in 2 minutes. I'm quite the person to change things a lot. There's a nice benefit of using Unreal Engine because I can just change things whenever I want. We'll say allow. Yeah, I'll have that as a name. If comparing strings are really faster in that way, again, I'll have to look it up. I don't think the engine's lying to me. If row is not found, we'll just, I'm gonna add a reroute node, just in case we need that, and print string. Job proc, string, not, found. Or technically, it's a name. Name. Actually, I should say row. Trying not to confuse myself, but I'm confusing myself anyways. That's pretty much how I work. Go ahead and break this. That way we can get the data from whatever we were using. Now we have our job ID. This is why I end up putting the ID twice. That way, whenever we find the ID, we still have the ID, so I can pass it on to whatever else is having it. It's not like a time saver or anything like that in terms of like processing power or anything, but it saves me trouble, so I always have it. Especially useful for some of my character stuff. From here, we're going to want to add to some sort of calculation. I think I'll have it in my game processes. New variable. I'm going to use a map to store them. So game job procs. Yeah. meant to type in S again. I'll start off with, no, we'll keep it as a name. I don't know. This actually won't really matter because it's not going to be comparing to itself. I'm going to go ahead and use a map. And we'll use probably create a struct for whatever equipment it is. So I think that's what we'll want. Or a pointer to a struct. So go ahead and make it a string to a string or a name. Probably an ID string. Trying to think of how to do this properly. So what this will do is it'll have two strings. So it'll have a string that points to whatever I need, and then it'll have a string for a type and an item maybe, or something along those lines. We'll figure it out. I actually didn't think about this before I actually started doing this, so I'm a little confused on how I'm going to actually do this. Because if I want to have it so that it can repair multiple different types of outfits, I can't just have it as a character struct like I have here, which basically just has a string attached to a struct. So I actually need it to be tied to a pointer of some sort. So maybe I'll actually just want to use an array. Probably. An array and then have like a job struct. I'm going to do that. We're going to try that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new struct. And blueprints, structure, struct. Is that going to work? That might work. Yeah, so we're going to create an array. This into an array. And then we'll have struct. Job. Wait, wrong one. Wait a second. Oh, I already had a struct. It's gone now. Oh, it's actually... God dang it. Where is it? Where is it defined in here? What? It is not defined in here. Why does it think it's defined in here? What's even in the struct? I don't remember creating this. It just has a string. All right. I don't know why. I'm just going to delete the one I created because it doesn't have anything tied to it except for memory assets. So I was going to close everything and then save. I'm just going to rename the other one. I don't know when I created that, but apparently I did it a while ago and it's tied to something somewhere. I will figure that out later. Opens on my other screen. God damn it. Job ID, we'll have that as a name. And then... There's some that are going to be upgrades and some that are going to be equipment. So... I will need the actual equipment item, and then I'll need some sort of timer, and maybe a reference to an upgrade list, which I think I have one. I don't have it on the new name system, but I do have an upgrade list. So if I pull this up, create a new one, we'll just call it upgrade list. Upgrades. Sorry, adjusting my chair. It's called UpG. UpG. Name script. We'll update it again later. EPG, and then Could do it that way. Or, actually, if I have this as just a name, then I could do it here. I might not need that. We'll try just building the weapon one first. We won't worry about the upgrade system yet. Maybe I'll do the upgrade systems on a different timer or something. Figure it out. Anyways, equip, because I need to store, like the reason why I'm having problems with this is because I need to store whatever equipment it is using, and I could store that in an array, like a custom array, and then try and find it inside that array, but I want to make things as simple as possible for me. So I'm going to strict equipment, so not null. No. So it'll be equipment in the process, and then we need a new variable, which is going to be our timer. Probably add in your type as well. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do, create a map, set it as a, yeah, I'm going to create a map, and then I'll have a system of IDs, because you can only run one process at one time. So to grab the ID, grab that process, send it, it will have a struct tied to it, mapped to it, and then it will send that struct to whatever the UI needs to grab, because we do have a UI element for this that needs to also pull that data. So I'll make this a float. Could make it an integer as well. I don't think it matters. Let's use a float to keep it simple. I think that'll work. No, type needs to be a string. Or do we use that as a name? Whatever. Now I need to reopen my game process. Reopen my game mode. And reopen my controller. We go. All right, so I want to, did I create a new variable? I already forgot. Doesn't look like it. I think I canceled it. Maybe I moved it somewhere. Where is it? I thought I created one. I'm losing it. Or did I create it in the wrong thing? Did I create it in my game mode? Nope. Maybe I just didn't create it, or I'm blind. Probably just blind. Whatever. Let's call this game procs. Or I called it job procs. It is already there. Wait, where is it? It's not. Huh? Am I just like ridiculous and not saying it? I feel like I'm going insane. Hold on, is there a refresh? If I say git okay, I think Unreal is just having a hiccup. And that kind of bothers me. Hold on, maybe if I recompile it. Has an invalid Dropbox declare. What? I don't see it. Hold on. I'm just gonna restart it. Here's the UI we're gonna be building, by the way. So we're gonna be building this thing up in the top left. I'm just gonna go ahead and restart the engine. There's the old version. We're working on the new version. Yes. Okay. I don't know what that was about. Oh, okay, just hit restore, whatever. Oh, it opens them up on the other screen. Okay, okay, there it goes. I wasn't going completely insane. That actually had an invalid type. All right, we're good. I think it's fine now. Variable. Game. Job. Procs. Okay. All right, it's functioning. Just gonna change it up here. It's going to be a map, so we're gonna want this as string. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. Synthetical weather variable public. Oh yeah. And we'll make it a map, and we'll point to our struct. Struct. And it will be a job proc struct. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to pull from that map, and that map will be parsed in our game mode, and then that game mode will then affect all the timers and all the values that need to be affected in it, and then the actual code itself for the job process, which I'll either put inside our game mode or I'll put it inside of our actual game instance, I'm not sure yet, will then run whatever code it needs to onto the item or whatever. So like, let's say I'm repairing an item, it'll increase whatever it needs to increase as it goes along. I think I could probably do that here as well. So I could probably end up doing that in the job processing. So we'll probably just make it dynamic if I can. I could probably just make it so that the equipment itself actually gets modified based off of the type. So it could be like, oh, you know, this is a repair job, then it will actually compare to a string and then do a job process. Probably. Yeah, we'll do that. I think that's what we'll do. All right, so we need to add into it, and we'll need to add it to our game. So the job process will be removed by the game mode, but then the game will actually add it in. It's going to be stored in our game instance. That way when we transfer levels, if we have to teleport somewhere or something like that, we'll unload all the actors and all the script. I don't have to worry about throwing it up to the game instance and then throwing it back down. It will just automatically be here, and then the game mode will update it based off of tick. Probably. Buy that. I'm also going to want other stuff as well. I do have a struct for something else. What did I call it? I don't remember. Game passives, there we go. Oh, that's where I was using it. I don't think I need it here anymore, so I can get rid of that. This is all like settings and stuff like that. I probably had I was probably planning on making settings for the job processes in there, but I'm just gonna go ahead and actually, that actually wasn't a terrible idea, because I could then have a struct that would just be parsed by that specific segment instead of pulling off a bunch of different data. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna create a map because why the heck not? String. Create a map. We're going to add some default values to our map as well. And we'll just have probably an integer. Try and think of the best way to do this. Probably an integer. Or a float. Basically what I'm going to try to do is make an ID system for our upgrades, like I was talking about before with my table over here. That would then get the rate at which, like, the blacksmith, because you get a blacksmith and you get to upgrade him or whatever, you know, give him beefier arms or whatever, make him skip leg day. And so you can end up having him, like, increase or whatever, so upgrades. I'll just call them upgrades for now. And then we'll have a string that is tied to the upgrades, and then we'll have an integer that would say what level it is. So upgrade levels, I guess is what I could call it. We'll do that. Sorry, I got a message. I think that'll work. Oops, I accidentally opened Audacity. That's fine. So upgrade levels, let's go ahead and add in some default values. Add in one for blacksmith here. Just have them start at level 1. I mean, we could actually just do it at level 0 and then just use an add parameter when we actually do the process, but I'd like to avoid that, so we'll just add a 1. And then there's also going to be an alchemist. Actually, I'm doing this wrong. It's going to be up G, and then blacksmith there. So that's all we're going to use for now, so I'm just going to end up doing it that way. We probably won't use craft because I don't have my material system in the game yet. So we'll ignore that. That's down the pipeline. I'm going to get gameplay going before... I have gameplay going, but I'm going to have actual presentable gameplay going before I even worry about it. So inside our game, we'll have this create process based on job ID. I'll have this. Create a new parameter. This will be the structure. So I'll have our equipment structure. Just in case. And we'll name it struct. Move, throw that. Alright, now that was... This is supposed to be a job structure, so we need to make a job structure. Oops, not set members. Make. Job ID. Carry our type. And we'll need to create a timer. This is where we would compare type, wouldn't it be? So I don't know. Yeah, because we need to set a max timer for when it ticks and naturally runs down, unless I want to do that in the game mode. Maybe I can do that in the game mode itself? Yeah, I'll do that in the game mode itself. So I'm actually going to have a timer 0, and then we'll have another calculation that runs at the end of it that asks if it's going to go below, then it will just delete the process and do the other function that would need to, which would call to another function to say like add equipment back into a storage box or something like that. So I have storage in the game, so it'll add the item into the storage. And so we'll do that. And then it will probably need allow as well, I assume. We probably won't use that for that, and then description we don't need to worry about. And the actual equipped itself. File that. Name, I guess. Make a branch for the name real quick. Equals none. If it doesn't equal none, then it will just run to the process, add whatever we need. And if it isn't, maybe I should have a different job process tree for every type, possibly. And then I could use a generic repair. No, that's overcomplicating it. I'll keep it simple. Kiss, it's one of my favorite things. All right. So if it does equal none, then we need to create a name, which means we will break our structure. And with the name of the equipment. Copy that. Do. I could use a temporary variable for that, but I'm not gonna worry. Oops. job ID, and our type, actual equipment, and then the name will go there. Otherwise, this name will go there. Yes, this looks like a mess, but I understand it, and that's all that matters to me. It's down. Right, unconnected pins. And that should be all we need over here. Because I'll add the actual timer code into the game mode itself. That way we're not front loading the function too much. And it'll help it be expandable. Because I would prefer not to have it run over and over again. Then inside of our game mode, now we have our tick queue. If it ends up accumulating, then it will actually run the function itself. Queue. I'll just extend that like that. Just to title things. I think I like this system better. In some of my other scripts, this is one of the older scripts, and so it still has the big boxes, but I started using this earlier on, so it's kind of like a Windows title bar in a sense. I don't know, it makes sense to me, so I'm gonna end up using it. This song is really loud. There we go. The first thing we need to do is we need to actually get our game mode thing, which I have a tab here, so we can go ahead and get game jabrazizis. Take that. What is it called? Keys, probably. Yeah. Keys will allow us to get the actual list of the keys. Or actually, I could just get an array of the things themselves. No, I need the keys associated as well. And then we'll do a for loop for each one of these with a break. Well, actually, we won't need a break, will we? Hopefully, unless we make an infinite loop somewhere, which I've actually done before. Not the most fun thing. We do need to check to make sure that this is actually larger than 0 before we run the loop, or else we'll get an error when we try to run the game without anything in our processing queue. So, do branch. And we'll get our length. And if it's larger than 0, it will continue onward. If false, it will just return, not do a dang thing. If it's true, however, we'll pass it through. For each one, we got an array index and our element index, and now we're going to want to also get our variables for our structs. What was it called? Is it called values? It's called values. Oh wow, this actually has to be connected in a sort of sense. I'm just gonna copy and paste this over here. Clean up the wires, at least somewhat. Not the best at it. We'll do that. Need to get a reference based on our array index. And I believe, theoretically, and I hope that both of these indexes will be the same. So we have our ID here, this is our ID, and then this will actually be the struct we need to break. I'm gonna go ahead and create another struct. Calc job proc struct. Get set. Actually, I'll just do a make. Yeah, I want to do a make. Or, right? I want to do a set, not a get set. There we go. Trying to think of how to do this. I guess we'll just set that there. Thinking through this real quick. I don't want to like just pull it from here and then try to modify it from there, because I was doing some testing the other day, and if you have a map, it doesn't always set the members. It might set here though, actually. So it might be fine as long as we pass by reference. We'll try it and see if it works. I just know that I was having problems with it the other day. And maybe I just did it wrong, so maybe it'll be fine now that I've actually been working with it for a little bit. But yeah, I'm not sure if you actually have a struct inside a map, if you can actually set members to it, but we'll find out. We're going to want to set the timer. I think that's really it. All we're going to be doing here is updating the timer. Trying to think, should we do... We'll have to subtract it by 5 every time. That's going to look wonky on the UI, actually. So I might just end up doing the tick delay. Probably. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm actually going to zero it out. And then I'm going to use the actual tick delay and modify all the processes with that. That way I don't have to actually worry about it. Which means I don't technically need this, sort of. Yeah, I don't want it updating every frame, but I think I'm just going to ignore using that for the actual process itself. So we'll just set it to 0 afterwards. And that means that this will run every 0.5 seconds, but it won't actually cause the timers to change by 0.5 seconds. Because if we look at my UI, I wasn't remembering this, but I kind of wanted it to show the timer on there, and I want it to be a little bit specific. But if that's not updating every, half a second at least, then the timers will look a little bit awkward or whatever, but it would have been fine either way, I guess, actually. I just want it to feel as accurate as possible. I don't want people to like start a timer and then have it look weird. Oh, I should close audition. Oops, wrong thing. There we go. So yeah, we just need to set our timer. So we'll break this, get the current one. Actually, no, I need to check if it's 0. Oops, not. Equal float. There. Alright, wrench. And if it is 0, add a reroute node so we can do this later. See, and add process timer. I'm not going to code the UI today. I'm actually going to be ending my stream soon, so I don't want to get back into the UI stuff again. But I will be doing it a little bit later. I have other stuff I have to work on today. So yeah, and then we'll just take the timer, subtract it, float minus float, we'll get our ticket delay. Now we'll subtract there. We'll add another branch. If it's not 0, add a branch. this is less than or equal to 0. Then we'll do another reroute node just for notes purposes. And we'll say this is the end process tree. I think it would be better to actually put it in the game process as well. I just don't want to have to like do compare strings in multiple. That way if I want to add more job processes, I wouldn't have to worry about it. Because I want to compare like, oh, if it's a blacksmith, then again, going back to the UI, trying to think of how to do this, I wanted to kind of split it by names. I mean, realistically, I don't have to. I could just have, you know, upgrades and processes and just have them here. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't matter, would it? Because that's why I added in the type, is to split it between here. Whatever. I'll have to figure that out once I actually do the UI segment of stuff. Yeah, then if it's false, it will just set the timer. I'll just make sure that everything is running right. Timer is 0. Alright, so now I can just do a quick test because I actually need to go soon. So if it's 0, we'll just give it a timer just for the sake of it. Copy that, set that up here. I'll just set it to 10 for now. I want the actual struct. There we go. And that should set the struct so that if it finds the timer as 0, it'll just put it to 10. Then when it goes here and it wants to destroy it, then we'll print string. Job process complete. Process. Oh my god, I can't type complete. I don't know why I'm struggling with this. And then we'll... Oops. What did I type? Print string. And we'll get the... This is where we would get the name. Or whatever. That's the ID, though. I could pass the name through it at some other point. I could look it up in the table as well, actually. Because this is just... It's an ID with a struct. If we did this, we actually get row, or get data table row, right? What did they call it? Data table row? It's not gonna let me do it that way. Data table row. It is get data table row. That was supposed to be a name inside that variable. Right? Oh, I'm calling it... Yeah, I was using the wrong one. I need to use the actual job ID for that, I believe. Right? No, that's the wrong process. I'm thinking of the wrong process. I know what I'm doing wrong. Sorry, I am way just out of it. I don't know why I was like confused there. No, because we need to, when we send it to the UI, we need the name. So, where am I? Oh my god, I just got completely flipped around. Am I not adding it to my list properly? Because this is supposed to be, yeah, this is supposed to be name. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so that's supposed to be, yeah, I got confused. Okay, cool. So, let's go ahead and break that. Break that. Need to add the ID. God, I'm an idiot. I just got completely confused because I was just like, wait a second. This is why I was just using strings. I should have just left it on strings and I wouldn't have had this problem just now. And we need the job ID. I mean, I would have been confused when it wasn't working. That would have been interesting. There we go. That should work. Right? Go over it in my head real quick. So we grab from the data table, we grab it from the job table, we break the struct, we grab the ID. The ID gets put as a process, and then we actually make a struct that would then throw into the structure of here. I forgot to connect that as well. Well, it's a good thing I screwed up there because I would have completely forgot that, and then it would have just been me looking like an idiot trying to run it and having it not work. So, yeah, I guess it was a good thing. Lol. Yeah, we need to... Damn it. Keys! Keys! Grab this. Grab this. This goes down here because I'm going to get the length. Unconnect that. Wait, will this... Oh, that'll just work. Okay, cool. And then we want our array to go into here. And that should work. There we go. So we'll want the name, whatever, for whenever we're doing this. I deleted that. Parent string. Parent the string. And pin. Make that our separator. So the first one's going to be the name, but in order to get the name, we need to take our index. Oh, hold on. I'm going to add the other node first. Get data table row. Got it. Set that there. Row go there. Then we'll get the ID. This. Then go from our jobs. Break. I know this is an unnecessary step that I'm taking here, but I don't care. I don't have the job ID. That way I can check if it's actually the right ID. And then we'll have the timer go into there. And add a pin. Like I said, the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm not doing the UI for a little while. Oops, I don't want that. I want, well, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter which one it's from, is it? I just realized we already have a structure with the ID, so I don't actually need to do any of that. You can tell when I'm trying to do this stuff and I'm tired, it is completely different than when I'm awake and like really actually trying. Print. Actually, no, we don't need a print string when we create it, do we? I'll just say process started. Sure, we'll leave it like that. There, so that should be the code that we need for this. It looks messy, I know, but I haven't fixed it up. So it checks our accumulator, see if it's been over 0.5 seconds. That way it's not ticking every single frame. So this will be like, you know, once every 30 frames you're running at 60 FPS, which is going to save a lot of time for processing when you compare it to running it 60 times a second, because this isn't going to need to update all that often. Then it checks our job processes, see if we actually have any. If it does, because it's above 0 in length, it will then run the rest of the process, which will then loop through each one. It will find our job processes, get the actual string itself. I could also, what I could do is also stagger it by 0.3 or 0.2 seconds or whatever, and then update these in the array in a specific manner as well, if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm not gonna bother with the advanced stuff at the moment. That's an optimization feature. But anyways, inside the loop, we get our job process, which then adds into an array. This array then checks the timer, checks if it is 0, according to the same array that we had back here. And we actually don't need our array element whatsoever, do we? Nope. So I literally could have just done the actual values over here. So an optimization thing that I could do is instead of grabbing the keys, I would grab the values. I don't know why I wanted to grab the actual names itself. I guess, actually no, the name itself would be used for when I make the UI. So I'd actually pull the name. Actually no, because the ID is in the struct. This is again why I have the IDs in the struct. I'm just an idiot today, holy cow. Anyways, and then after that, we get our loop that then checks if our timer is 0. If it is exactly 0 and it hasn't run through this process to actually end the timer, then it will create the timer, and what this will do is it'll create the UI, it'll create the actual, setup that we'll need to see it on the screen. That way we don't have to do it in our game process. I'll probably move to the game process once I actually build the UI, but for now, that'll work. So it'll say we procced our state, and it'll add in this 10-second timer that would then have a calculation according to it. Over here, then, if it actually ends up being brought below 0 by the negative timer, which is where it would end up kind of being back to 0, then it will actually end the process or whatever. We'll say the process is complete, although in this scenario, it'll just restart it because we're not actually removing it. So we could remove it, but I'm not going to, just for the simple sake of doing it this way. And if it isn't above 0, or if it is above 0, then it will end up just minusing the timer, and then we'll print out the job process name and the timer or value that it actually has remaining. Cool. Now all we need to do is add into our controller. That we'll add into the game for the add job, and we'll add in a job ID and an equipment item, I guess. So go into controller. Let's go ahead and put it on queue. Gameplay, add job. So we need a job ID. And bring up my structure to make sure I have my ID proper. We'll repair a weapon. Let's go ahead and we'll just pull a weapon and then we'll modify it. So again, another thing, we would normally be grabbing it from like a player inventory or storage, but I'm just going to go ahead and get data table row, select an asset, equipment. Yep, we'll just use the old scythe. So I'll just grab an old scythe. We will break this. We'll go ahead and make a struct. All we need is a name and equipment ID. We really won't need anything else from here into it, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I guess I would need type as well. Type. Durability, we're not really going to calculate it at this point, because that's more or less to do with the UI. Durability, set to 15. And then that should work. Add that. Print string. Q pressed. Oh, right. You can't make one and have a default value in there, or undefined value, I think. Let me type into it. Jesus, criminy. There we go. Play. Hit a new game, so we're in our queue. Oh, for some reason that broke. I don't know why that broke, but okay. If we hit Q, proc start. So just starting over and over again. I didn't actually make it set to the struct. Derp. Or did I? No, I did. Okay, so I was right. So, see, we're setting it here, but it's actually not setting into the map. Because what we're doing is basically when we pull from the map, we're not actually setting it inside of the map, I think. Oh no, what this is it from the array. We actually need to grab it from the map itself. So we actually can use our array element. Man, I thought it was done. I ain't done yet. All right, so I just need to actually find the actual thing inside of it as well. So process find. We use our element array ID. There we go. So basically what we need to do is just find the ID and use that struct inside of our set members rather than the actual one from the array, because I'm pretty sure this array that it has here is not a reference, it is a copy. I don't know how to check. I think that's just one of those things you have to learn. Hold on. I just want to check. If I go values, if I look at the outputs an array of all values, I guess it creates an array and then that's what it does. Anyways, now it should work. Unless my logic is wrong. Key pressed, proc start. Is my logic wrong? Or is it just not going to set it regardless? We might have to actually add it in again. Oh man. That's annoying. So we actually need to like add it into the array as well. So we'll get rid of that. We can actually go back to our get version. That's annoying. Then move that down a little bit. Get our job proxies. Let's do a quick add. Yeah, I think this is why I wasn't using structs with maps. I'm confused why that didn't work. Like, I'm legitimately confused as to what specific, because sometimes I was doing that and it was working and sometimes it's not. I don't know. There's something very specific and I'm just missing it. Someone's smoking outside my window. That's annoying. The struct out will go there. Oops, we'll be adding to this map, and then we'll take our name there, and then we'll print. I'm gonna close my window real quick. Smokers are gross. Remember that, kids. There we go. So now we can see it's counting down from 10 seconds. 10 seconds was probably a bad idea, and it works. I did that wrong, didn't I? Because that's going to be much more than 10 seconds. I don't actually know how that scales, but all right. I think, what would 10 be? I don't actually know what the, what we could do is just calculate the tick cum and then, or get the tick delay. Oh, you know what? We do have to use the tick cum. I'm a double idiot. I was right the first time. I don't know why I ever question myself all the time. The reason why it was going to take so long is because it was only calculating our frame rate based on that. Flip minus 5. The reason why that wasn't working is because it was only calculating it based off of the frame that we were on. So I was right to do this the first time. This is why I'm not a programmer. This is why I'm an artist. It should look a little bit better now. I knew that looked weird. I mean, it's still not really working all that well. I don't know how it scales. Is 0.001? Does it actually say on the delta timer on the tooltip? Delta seconds float. No, I don't actually know what delta seconds is in its calculation. I'll have to figure that out. I'm just gonna make a quick thing here. I'm actually gonna test it on stream. Let's go ahead and make our tick delay. We'll have a float plus float. I didn't want an increment. We'll get a tick cue. And we'll set. Print string. Tick cue. Duration 0.1. No, that is right. Huh. Oh, I know where we're messing up. I still have tick delay over here. We'll just hard code this to 0.5. I'll change that later. Yeah, now it should look right. Hopefully. The queue. Job process was complete instantly because I changed the value to a value that wasn't 10 seconds. Well, play. Making myself look smart. Yeah, so there you see it's actually calculating down by 0.5 seconds. And the UI is only going to be in seconds, so it won't actually matter. Job process complete. Yeah, so it actually didn't go to exactly 0. So it didn't actually trigger this one. So that's kind of nice. But normally at the end of this, it would actually remove it from there. But from there, I can add in additional logic. Whether or not it'll be streamed, I don't know. We'll end up finding out. But I'm going to go ahead and end the stream pretty much right here. So, yeah. That was my goal today, was just to finish that. So, yay. I think the next thing I should do is actually create a system where it makes its own string. That way, if I wanted to make it so that they could have additional repair jobs, or actually what I could do is, because I was thinking about this one feature to where I could maybe make it so that there was additional shopkeepers and stuff that could end up doing repairs. And so over in my jobs, I could actually have like job rebel repair or whatever. Then they would actually, you know, be a blacksmith. And so they would have all the blacksmith processing, and they would use that variables. It would allow a web. And then I could also have it so that they could allow different types of equipment and stuff like that as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm actually going to have merchant most likely for these job processes, because the characters themselves don't do the jobs. You go to people that actually, you know, do that as their job. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, but I'm going to worry about it today. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. By the way, the music in the background has been from OC Remix. I always forget to say that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm trying to set up all my stuff here. Yeah, and also this will be up on YouTube, so if anybody wants to watch the archive, it'll be available. Adios.